you doing, everybody? This is Bob Brooks with the story of the first sports car race ever held in the state of Iowa. This one on the airstrip at the Iowa City Airport, and more than 100 cars gathered at the machine shop for the first inspection to start things off on May the 1st. Drivers from California and from Florida and from 8 Midwestern states were on hand to have their cars inspected by the Sports Club of America before the races got underway the next day. All makes and models of sports cars were on hand. And the drivers, at the same time, while having their cars inspected, their tires checked, and their piston displacement looked at the same time, were comparing notes and were gossiping a little bit about why their sports car was best or why it would perform the best the following day. A race program had been set up of some 7 races for the next day, so these cars were getting a good going over. Now these drivers, more than 100 of them, would come here at their own expense, and their only glory for racing would be a winner's trophy. No money, no guarantee. They had to furnish the automobile, they had to furnish the fuel, the pit crews, they had to drive the car, and after the day is over, the only thing they could hope to win was a trophy. So you see, these fellows loved their automobiles. Here's the race course as it was laid out at the Iowa City Airport on the concrete racing strip. 1 9/10 miles. The course's distance, so we'll have a lot of terrific turns and a lot of thrilling races to tell you about today. Here's the race course as it looked the day of the event, May the 2nd. Heavy clouds and a light rain started to fall in the morning. It was to get heavier as the day went along. The first race, 19 miles for novice drivers under 1500 cc class. Open only to qualified drivers with 1 race or less experience, and they're off for the first race of the day. This afternoon, we want to bring you up to date on these sports cars and the way they look and the fellows that are driving them and where they came from. Maybe if you've never seen a sports car race before, you'll get just a little idea of the thrills, the spills, and the whirring around the turns and the speed that goes with one of these events. We hope to enlighten you a little bit on the type of car, so that when you do go out to see one of these sports races, you'll get all of the enjoyment that you possibly can out of it. Now, car number 40 in this event was driven by Captain W.H. Cooper from the Chanute Air Force Field in the state of Illinois. And the Chanute Air Force Base has been the headquarters for some of the best Midwest sports car races these past few years. A lot of these drivers have raced there, have raced in Europe, and all over the United States. There is Paul Shaw, who is a guiding light behind the event in Iowa City for the Optimist Club, and who did a great job in giving Iowa City another sports first. These cars have raced not only in this country, but abroad, too. And here's the winner of the first race of the day. He is Lloyd Burton of Eastland, Illinois, in a Glocker Porsche. And now the second race, 19 miles for novice drivers over 1500 cc, open only to qualified drivers with 1 race or less experience. They get their pre-race instructions, telephonic communication with the backstretch to make sure that the course is clear. And they're off in the second race of the day. Immediately moving into the lead is George Bear of Cedar Rapids, as the boys skid and whir around those turns that are made sloppy by the rain. Driving skill, the stamina of the automobile, all come into play in this second race. But mainly, since the event is only 19 miles, the driver's skill, his ability to negotiate those turns in his race with the clock and in the race with his fellow driver means a great deal. We want to call to your attention some of the bales of hay that have been placed in the backstretch and in the turns. In case one of these cars skids, he'll have some protection to try and keep him upright so that the concussion of the skid wouldn't be enough to knock him over. These novice drivers don't look like novices as they negotiate these turns in fine fashion. The officials confer as car number 66 moves around close to the lead, Dr. John Park in a Triumph Roadster Special from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Imagine that most of you never realized how many sports cars and sports car enthusiasts we have in the state of Iowa, but there are a great many of them, and most of them are here on this day. There's the old and the new, a fellow in the background on a horse as the cars of the modern age race at 100 miles an hour. He's there to keep the crowd back a little bit, but nevertheless shows that there's still some use for old Dobbin, too. Down into the first turn, roaring towards the backstretch at the Iowa City Airport in the second race of the day. There's car number 19, driven by Bob Gatz, Jaguar XK120M from Chicago, Illinois. Again, the Cedar Rapids car. And now the finish of the second race and the winner, a Cedar Rapids boy, George Bear, in a Triumph Special. And now the third race. The drivers get their pre-race inspection and move to their cars. Car number 6 that has a fine position in the front line is Stephen Peavy in an MGTD from Davenport, Iowa. The starter's ready. The green flag is up. Watch them now for the third race of the day, and they're off. 15 laps, 28 and 5/10 miles for production sports cars under 1500 cc class, open only to qualified drivers with at least one race experience. These cars move down the home stretch after negotiating the first lap. A big field and a lot of traffic jams around the turns. Crowd of around 4,000 on hand this afternoon watching this event. This is the third race, Class F2, and Norman Carlson of Itasca, Illinois, in a Porsche Sports is out in front. We want to tell you, too, about the story of the flags. As the spectators watch not only the race, but they keep a weathered eye on those flags, too. The green one, of course, the course is clear. The yellow flag is to use caution. The red flag means that the race has been stopped. The white flag means that there's an official car and ambulance on the race course. The yellow flag with horizontal red stripes, there's oil on the course. There isn't any oil on this day, but there's a lot of that stuff the weatherman has dropped down on them. Blue with orange stripe, you're being overtaken and give way, and the famous checkered flag for the winner and for the fellows who have finally finished the race. There's a view of the officials' tent where the timers are keeping track of these cars individually and their individual speeds. Car number 53 in this race is driven by Jack German in a Dyna Panhard 54 sports convertible from Moline, Illinois. And there's the finish. The third race has been completed. And in Class F2, Norm Carlson of Itasca, Illinois, in a Porsche Super is the winner.
On the double Boy Scout.
Now the fourth race. The gals watch as the cars line up and are ready to go for 28 and 5/10 miles and a total of 15 laps. They're off. The flags are set for the use of the official starter. Communication with the turns and with the backstretch out of view of the finish line at the Iowa City Airport. Car number 45, and one of the fine automobiles in this race, is driven by Bob McManus, a Chevrolet Corvette from St. Paul, Minnesota. Some of these cars have been made in the United States. Some of them are a foreign make. American production of sports cars has gone up magnificently the last few years with the advent of new sports car enthusiasm across the country. Here's that Corvette again, and car number 27 is driven by Don Davis, an Austin Healey 1954 make from Palatine, Illinois. The course is clear with the green flag out, as clear as it can be on this day. One car is stopped and warned by his pit crew and also by one of the officials. The Sports Car Club of America sets up their own official standards for the car, for the driver, for sanctions of the event, and of course for the way each race is run, the rules, and the way that these cars are to compete. These drivers moving around the turns in fine fashion. All the cars are the same in that they have the same type tires, the same type of placement of the piston, and the same type of weight, and the same type motor, which is very important, of course, in the competition. And so these drivers are out there on the course much more for the love of it than they are for any other reason. And the finish of the fourth race is won now by Loyal Katsky of Omaha in a Jaguar XK120M. And you'll hear from Loyal Katsky later on, too. He's one of the outstanding drivers to compete. And now the 5th race. Here it's the time for the gals to move away. Sports car officials don't forget the gals. They love baseball, but they love their sports cars too. And this is their chance. 5 laps, 9 5/10 miles. All classes. Drivers must be members of the Sports Car Club of America or wives of members and must have passed regional competition requirements. So there you get a view of the gals. They negotiate those turns just a little bit more stiffly than do the men. They don't slip and slide, and maybe after all, the gals are the better and safer drivers. Who knows? That's up for argument, but they like their sports cars just the way the men do. The leader of this race right now is Hope Stewart of Chicago in a Jaguar XK120. Car number 29 is being driven by Patricia B. Smith, an MGTD 50 Production Sports from Chillicothe, Illinois. These gals, I imagine, have been interested in sports car racing either while they were growing up, or maybe their interest was heightened a little bit by their husbands who own sports automobiles. Nevertheless, they have a wonderful time in their race and their moment at the Iowa City Optimist event. There's car number 26, and this one is driven by Don Wendendorf, a Singer 52, Rock Island, Illinois. And now the finish of the race, and the winner was Hope Stewart. Here's one of the big races of the day. This one, the Optimist Trophy Dash, 20 laps, 38 miles around the course just outlined to you, and they're off in one of the big ones. The fellow that breaks into the lead is Eddie Crawford of Michigan City, Indiana, in a Porsche competition. Bob Ballinger of Highland Park, Illinois, a Porsche Super. Norman Carlson of Itasca, Illinois, and a Porsche Super. These are the fellows who are going to battle it out in this 20-lap event. Around the turns they go, and this finds the weather conditions worsening just a little bit because the rain is coming down harder than ever before. These fellows in their raincoats and in their helmets, their goggles won't do them too much good. Their vision is not very good out there on the Iowa City course right now. But the speeds haven't lessened a bit. Now it's our turn for the cameraman to get just a little bit soaked. The pictures of this event are very spectacular, and the cameraman did an outstanding job. Under adverse conditions, they got soaked too. Coming around this turn, it looks as if somebody should have a speedboat. The turns are very, very slippery now. And a hydroplane here or there would help out a little bit, or maybe a pontoon. It's so dark that the lights have to be turned on, the automobiles. But these fellows who like keen competition won't let a little rain or a little water stop them. Still out in front in the Optimist Trophy Dash is Eddie Crawford of Michigan City, Indiana. The straightaways are pretty clear. But these turns cause no end of trouble to the drivers. It's certainly to their credit, though, that not a single mishap occurred on this afternoon. The driving was outstanding, the sportsmanship of a high caliber, and consequently not even a skid, not even a slight bump recorded in the sports car race. That shows you some of the ideals of the Sports Car Club of America were being lived up to. Here's a fellow that is driving a motorboat, I think. Either that or a hydroplane. A couple pontoons on the side there would help them out a little bit. And the winner of the 6th race was Eddie Crawford of Michigan City in his Porsche competition. And now the Iowa Trophy Dash around the same course. The weather has cleared a little bit. The wind has dried up the race course slightly. And for 20 laps, 38 miles, these cars are ready to do battle in the big one of the day. This is for sports, production sports, and unrestricted category cars under 1,500 cc. It's open only to qualified drivers with at least one race experience. The flying start after the pace lap, and they're off. These category cars over 1,500 cc. The bales of hay are ready just in case. There's car number 82, And this afternoon, that automobile is being driven by Matson Gregory of Kansas City. Everybody watching. Car number 8 moves up into contention, driven by Jimmy Elliott and MGTD from Minneapolis, Minnesota. The pit crew gives out with a little advice and some help. Pit crew working much the same as they do at Indianapolis to keep the driver informed as to his lap number, in case there's something wrong with the tire or the outside of the automobile, they can warn him. Some of these cars sometimes get going so good that they wear the rubber right off the tires. Consequently, they have to be warned by that pit staff, although there are not any pit stops in the race, with the driver coming back on to win. Car number 46, one of the big cars in the race, is driven by Eddie Crawford, a Porsche Sports Roadster from Michigan City, Indiana. That's one that you want to watch. Sid Ackerman in a Jaguar XK120 from Springfield, Illinois. The race gets down to its closing laps. There's car number 10, driven by Paul Clovis Jr., a Chrysler Special 54 Sports from Northbrook, Illinois. In the lead right now in the Iowa Trophy race is Lloyd Katsky of Omaha, Nebraska, the fellow who's the winner of the 4th race. He's driving a Jaguar XK120C. Maston Gregory of Kansas City in a Ferrari coupe is in the 2nd place spot. Eddie Crawford of Michigan City in the Porsche competition is 3rd right now. The crowd of 4,000 watches as they whir and strain around those turns. They wiggle and slip and slide a little bit, but nevertheless, they're all right. Great competition in the Iowa City sports car races. The Iowa City Optimist Club is to be congratulated on putting on this event, and the drivers are to be congratulated on the wonderful job that they've done in driving. And that high caliber of driving is still very, very predominant here in this feature race of the day. The wind, the water, and the weather doesn't stop them. Round the turns and into the backstretch. And still in the lead is Lloyd Katsky of Omaha, Nebraska. These fellows have all sorts of occupations. One fellow that entered in this event was a tree expert. Some of them are manufacturers. Some of them businessmen, some of them playground experts. They just love sports car racing. They like to get out there and test their skill, their driving ability, and the speed of their car against the speed of another. And here's the winner of the feature event, Lloyd Katsky of Omaha, Nebraska, the Jaguar XK120C. A lot of thrills in the Iowa City sports car race.